daily mobilisation stretches just to keep you mobile. So let's start with taking thumb up and just taking a little roll from side to side, turning your toes, turning your hips, releasing through the back of the shoulder. Allow your arm to be quite heavy, so momentum and gravity gently stretch the front of your shoulder. And then palm comes forward towards the floor. Turn your toes. Changing the movement now to reaching up over the head, stretching through the back of the shoulder, turning your hips. You can keep your eye gaze forward if you want. If it makes you feel dizzy, you try turning your head. Let's do the other side. So thumb up, take your rotation, turning your toes, turning your hips. Making this big movement as big or as small as you wish. And then turning the palm and reaching across. Take your diagonal line up now, so opening up through the back of the shoulder. You can let the arms swing back as much as possible as well, again allowing momentum and gravity to open up. Perfect, releasing down, and then just take a little step forward, circle the shoulders, open up through the chest, bend your back knee, so we're aiming to open up the hips a little bit as you drop into the hips. See if you can make the circles as big as possible, so you're really extending out of the shoulder joint. So it's often very easy to pull forward and out, but harder to pull back and down. And then we're going to reverse that movement, and you're going to step backwards and circle the arms forward. So stepping backwards, dropping the back knee. And you can play with having the palms flat or angling your wrists depending on where the tightness is in your arms. You might even turn the fingertips downwards to stretch through your forearms as you do this. Maybe play with doing different wrist positions to release all the way down your arms. Let's take one more, and then we're just going to take a step out, take a side bend. So you choose how big you make this. And the focus here is really lengthening, fingertips away from toes, and then opening up through the side of your ribs. So if your back feels a little tweaky, don't forget to use your hand to support your back so you feel nice and comfortable. You can also play with looking down towards your toes to stretch the line of muscle down the side of your neck. Back into the center, let's release the neck. So breathing in, press the palms together, feel the back of the shoulders engage. As you breathe out, clasp the hands behind your back and open the collarbones. Breathe in, lift the crown of the head to the sky. As you breathe out, drop your ear towards your shoulder. Breathe into the center. As you breathe out, drop your ear the other way, softening your jaw, relaxing the back of your eyeballs. These all connect into the back of your neck. Inhale to the center, breathing in, reach up. Press the palms together. As you breathe out, clasp again. Drop ear to shoulder. Breathing into the center, drop ear to shoulder. We're going to take a slight variation on that for a couple more times. Do as many of these as you want. Inhale, press the palms together. Feel the shoulders engage. As you breathe out, clasp. I'm going to turn side backwards. Hold one wrist and pull downwards, and then move the ear the opposite direction. And then breathe back into the center, change your grasp, hold the other wrist. Drop the ear the opposite way. back into the center. Inhale, reach, press the palms up, feel the shoulders engaged. Exhale, clasp on wrist, draw down. Move your head away from that shoulder. Come back into the center, draw down on the other side. Move your head away from that shoulder. Good, inhale, come back into the center. Just take a little release through the shoulders, so bending the knees. Just having a little swing, letting it be quite relaxed through the fingertips if it feels nice. You might take a little bit more of a bend. This creates a bit more energy in your body. Perfect, let's come into the ribs now. So hands to ribs, inhale, lift the ribs. See if you can move the bottom of your ribs away from the top of your hip bone. And then as you exhale, tuck your tummy muscles in. Thumb, fist into palm. Arch your shoulders. So you're really opening up through the midsection of your upper back. Breathing in, pulling shoulders back, breathing out. Breathing in, eye gaze lifts. Breathing out, eye gaze looks down, so you're stretching down the back of the neck. Let's do a couple more. Breathing in, and breathing out, feeling the space around your ribs, breathing into the side of your ribs expansively. Last time. We're going to start to do some roll up and roll downs. Again, you do as many as you want, but key thing is you tuck your belly muscles in and use your hands to support you if you need. So breathing in, crown of head lifts to the skies, you breathe out, tuck chin to chest. Tuck your tummy muscles in and roll yourself gently down. Press equally through both feet and just let your head and shoulders hang. Option, rest elbows on thighs and have your head here if this feels nice. And then pressing feet into the floor, tucking tummy muscles in, either climbing up your legs, pull the tailbone down, pull the belly muscles in, crown of head, take a big breath in, and when you're ready, come down again. So just be mindful of whether the weight is equal through both feet. So as you come up and down, are you using both sides of your body equally? Breathing in, breathing in, and as you breathe out, breathing in as you breathe out. Let's go for one more time, breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Next time you're going to come all the way down to the floor, onto your hands and knees. And we start to work through stretching the back a little bit, so cat-cow, spreading fingertips. Breathing in to lift the chest, dropping the belly button down, breathing out to tuck the tailbone down and under. Inhaling, rolling the shoulders back towards your sit bones, and exhaling, dropping the crown of your head down towards the floor. You can have your toes tucked if that feels more comfortable for you. Let's go for one more. And let's just mobilize through the middle back and the sides. So tucking toes down, sit your butt back. Before you do that, just cross one hand in front of the other and shift your bottom backwards. So you get a stretch through the side of the back and into the sit bones as well, into your child's pose. And then breathing in, coming into the center. And as you breathe out, reach the other arm across and sit back. And then inhaling, coming to the center, cross the arm. As you exhale, sit back. So each time getting a chance to stretch across the lower back, the sit bones, but also the back of the shoulder. Let's do that again, breathing in. As you breathe out, sit back. One more time each side. Good, and then coming back into the center, still working on the upper back and the waist a little bit. Take your back foot and press the heel into the floor. Take your front arm and rotate your ribs, keeping your hips square. So you can look down or up, but the rotation comes from here rather than here. And then knees down, reach the arm underneath, drop the head and shoulders to the floor. Let's do 4 or 5 of those. So breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. You might even play with taking the hand and wrapping it around the shoulder before you come back down, so opening up the shoulder a little bit more. Let's do one more on that side, and then we switch to the other. So again, anchoring the hips towards the floor, using the toe to stretch out the calf. Open. The under hip, stretch down. If you want to, you can add your arm wrap, circling forward and sinking under. Go for a couple more. Remember, you can look up, you can look down, whatever feels nice on your neck as well. Always think about how your neck feels in these stretches. It's an area we don't stretch enough. Perfect, and then we're going to start to move into the hips a little bit more now. So taking one foot forward, you can either have your hands resting on cushions on your thigh if you want, and then sink the knee forward, so you're opening through the hip, and then pulling back into a hamstring stretch. So if this feels a lot, you might just be here, but see if you can pull your hips back equally, so you get the stretch down the back of the leg. Breathing in to lift, breathing out to lengthen. Keep using your breath. And the next time you're staying with your hamstring stretch, try turning the toe inwards towards the floor. So your hands might be here, or you might be up here. If you can reach, you might even just draw the foot across. What we're doing is stretching right up the side of the calf and the IT band. So you might just literally be here, turning your toe in, and then turn it back out, then turn it back in. So you're playing with opening up right down the side of your hip. Coming back into the center, drop your hip down. And let's just take a little twist there. If it feels nice, you can turn your toe outwards, turn your hip. You might have elbow to thigh, you might be up here, or you might be down here, but wherever you choose, stay nice and lifted through your ribs. Go as big or as small as you wish. Let's try the other side. So shifting the leg back. Bearing in mind this side might feel completely different, so go with what feels right for you. My pelvis feels like it wants to tilt that way a little bit more. So dropping the hips down and then pulling back to your hamstring stretch. Hands on the floor if you want. Remember, if the hands don't feel right being on the floor, if your back is very rounded, you stay up here. Or use yoga blocks or cushions or blocks of books even, just to keep yourself a little higher so your spine feels nice and long. Breathing in and breathing out. Let's go for last time. And then turn your toe inwards. So whether you're up here, whether you're able to touch down, whether your hands are down, whatever feels right for you, just play feeling that stretch right up the outside of the leg, your calf. And then when you feel ready, just play going out and in. Just noticing how the hip feels. It is a ball and socket joint, so it's going to feel different as you move from side to side, but it's important to keep that ball and socket joint moving around all angles. Let's go for one more. Keep the legs central, drop the hip down, hand to thigh or floor, turn the toe out a little bit. And then you have the option just to take a twist up here if you want, or a twist down here. And you can choose whether you take the arm up or backwards, but you want to think about moving the shoulder away from your ear, wherever you choose. You're coming back into the center. Let's bring the bum down to the floor. Drop your knees to one side now. So we're now going to play with opening up the hip a little bit. So you can either be here, turn the chest and fold chest down towards thighs, or if you feel comfortable, you can take the legs straight back into what we call pigeon pose, and you can adjust this foot. If this feels a lot on your hip joint, put a cushion under your bottom cheek. And then just breathe in, and as you breathe out, just allow the hip to open. You might notice a stretch down the side of your back, the side of your legs. And if this feels nice, just stretch the side of the body. Try walking your chest the same direction as your front foot. And then reach the arm out. So then you get a nice stretch across the side of the ribs and the shoulders, possibly. It'll also change the way the weight is sinking down through your hips, so you might feel a bigger stretch in your glute. And then coming back into the center. Your option, if you feel comfortable, is to pick the legs straight up, or if you don't feel comfortable with doing that, roll onto your bottom first and draw the heel in towards your butt. So now we're stretching into the front of the leg. You can take the foot back further if you want. You can roll onto the thigh, but keep rolling your hip down towards the floor. And the aim is to get the stretch in the front of your leg. So if it's a lot on your shoulder, hold lower down, but just keep finding that stretch, rolling the hip down towards the floor. You might move in and out as a way of finding and deepening that stretch without putting too much pressure. Ideally, with each stretch, you want to spend at least 30 seconds taking time to breathe into it, because that's how long we really need to let those muscles relax. Any longer, that's great too. But make sure you use your breath and that you're not fighting. Let's release out. Let's try the other side. So turning your toes the other way, you can have a little roll from side to side again if you want. It's quite a nice way for stretching and opening the shoulders. And again, choose the position where you're going to be, whether you're folding down from here, whether you're extending the leg back, whether you're putting a cushion under your bottom. And then take a moment just to breathe. So don't forget, you can stay up here if this feels better on your back, you can be down here. And as you breathe in and out, just see if you can let gravity and breath work into opening up the hips. If your foot feels a bit crampy, by the way, you can always tuck the toe under and push the heel away to release the back of the calf, and then just let it come back down again if that feels nice. Also creates a bit of an extra stretch on your inner thigh as well. If you feel comfortable, walk yourself diagonal, same direction as your foot, and reach your arms out. Take some really nice breaths. And then when you feel ready, you're going to pick up your back leg again, roll onto the floor if you need to get there. And then just keep rolling, breathing in as you breathe out, dropping the hip gently forward. So being very gentle with yourself, making sure that you feel comfortable as you do this. Using an out breath to create release. And the closer you draw the heel to the butt, the more you're going to get the stretch through the quad. If the arm is more relaxed, you get a bigger stretch through the hip flexor a little bit as well. So you choose where you want to take this, breathing in, breathing out. Make sure you can relax with your out breath. Let's take a couple more breaths there. And then release. Drop the knees down. Let's take an opening through the front body. So reaching the arm up, press the hips up to the ceiling. If this feels a lot on your back shoulder, maybe you just keep the bum on the floor and you just lift and open. If you feel comfortable, drive up. You can look down, you can look up, you can look forward, whatever feels nice for you. Press into the thighs, press into the knees, I should say, so you feel the chest open. Let's try that again before we do the other side. So breathing in, lifting and opening, breathing expansively into your ribs to open up. And then we take the legs to the other side and try the other side. Hand comes behind. Choose whether you keep the hips to the floor or lift up and open, roll, open your rib cage. Keep breathing. You might play with opening up the shoulder. Take a seat, take a rest down. And then we do it again. Breathing in, lifting, opening. Good release. Let's roll onto the back to do a little bit of twist work now, just to release the lower back. If you need cushions, if your back feels quite tight or your hips feel tight, you might need some cushions on standby to pop them underneath your knees. So first of all, just drawing the knees into the belly, taking a little roll from side to side. And then bringing your arms out in a T shape, knees either feet on the floor or start with your knees over your hips. Gently reel your knees to the side, keeping your shoulders relaxed on the floor and touch down. If you find that this knee is hovering, or this knee is hovering, put a cushion underneath the knee to support, or a cushion in between the knee, so you're not putting pressure on your back. And then see if you can keep your shoulders rolled down to the floor. Eye gaze opposite way to your knees, so that you can stretch down the side of the neck. Breathe in. Breathe into space around your ribs. As you breathe out, exhale for the ribs contract. Also allow the back of your body to sink a little closer to the floor. And then let's try the other side. So inhaling, coming back to the center, resetting shoulders and hips on the floor before you take your exhale. Drop to the other side. Again, cushions, blocks if you need to. use them. Again, nice big breath into the front body. Feel the ribs expand as you exhale. Allow the contraction of the ribs, the release of the muscles to let your body sink closer to the floor. Notice whether you're clenching your hands, whether you can relax your fingertips, which in turn releases your shoulders a little more. Bringing yourself back into the center, land your feet to the floor, bring your arms to the side of your body. Let's take a hip bridge to stretch front body again. Option, just to tuck the tailbone under and then roll back down to the floor if that feels a lot for you. Or if you feel like you want to press the toes into the floor, lift the ribs and hips up. Feel the shoulders spread across the floor, chin tucks into chest to release the back of the neck. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, roll down through your spine little bit by little bit, making sure that we touch down with the lower back before the tailbone. This means you have to pull this in a lot before you get there. Try that again, pressing through the toes, allowing the hip bones to float up equally so they're nice and level. Breathe in at the top, and as you breathe out, roll yourself back down again gently. Draw one knee in to the outside of your ribs, draw the other knee in. And then just take a moment just to rest there. Feeling the lower back spread across the floor. If you feel ready, we're going to take this into happy baby, so the heels extend up towards the ceiling. Holding thighs, calves, ankles. Breathe in as you breathe out. Just allow the shoulders, the lower back and the hips just melt downwards. If you need to hold lower to get this stretch, please do. Again, check your chin is tucked in towards the chest, so the back of the neck is nice and long. See if you can breathe your shoulders equally into the floor. If it feels nice, you can take a little roll from side to side. See if you can get the whole length of your spine, tailbone, right the way up to the top of your shoulders, anchored down to the floor. Let's take one more breath. We're going to bring the feet together, tuck the knees in, roll yourself all the way round until we come into child's pose. So you can have the toes tucked or flexed. You can have the knees wide or narrow. Just take a reach back, allow your buttocks to sit towards your heels. Breathe space into the back of the shoulders. Take one more breath, bring your weight into your hands. Take the foot back, take a roll backwards and forward through your foot again, releasing the calf if that feels nice. Do that as much as you need to. Try the other side. Tucking toes, shifting the weight into your toes, rolling backwards and forwards through your feet. Keeping your chest nice and lifted. This is a chance to let the blood come back to your brain if you've been upside down for a bit. So if you've got low blood pressure, it's a nice way to kind of rebalance. And then heels sink to the floor. You have the option to walk up your thighs, tuck tummy muscles in, keep your eye gaze upwards, roll up. Let's take a little side stretch. Heel presses into the floor, reach up and over. Option, take the arm and pull. So we get that big stretch up the side body again. And then try the other side. Heel presses down into the floor. So we're anchoring down through the hip. And then we just move the ribs and hips away gently. Try and keep the chest lifted and open. If you find that you started to drop, pull back and open. Come back into the center. Clasp your hands behind your back. Lift and open the chest. Nod the chin down as you exhale. Lift the eye gaze as you inhale. Nod the chin down as you exhale. Lift the eye gaze as you inhale. Bring the head back to the center, let the arms hang. Take a little flow, arms backwards and forwards. Take a little roll. the arms be quite floppy. Good, and then just settle back into the center. You should be mobilized and nice and warm.